As an author, there's tons of skills that you need to have in your belt. Plotting, planning, actually telling an engaging story, not to mention proofreading, editing, and time management. But there's one skill that every debut author needs to learn in order to boost their chances that a publisher or an agent will choose to represent you, or that a reader will pick up your book and never want to put it down. So what is this skill? I'm going to tell you. Welcome back to the World Forge, where we take the strongest ideas and forge them together to create amazing worlds and incredible stories. And today we're talking about the one skill that every debut author needs to learn. And that skill is saying more with less. So why is this skill so important? If you haven't discovered this yet, the writing field is an incredibly competitive one. You're constantly going to be competing with tons of other books for the attention of readers and agents and publishers. In the traditional publishing world, landing an agent is the key to getting your book published. And some literary agents receive over 100 submissions every single month. That's over 1,000 stories that your story is going to be competing with to get the attention of a literary agent. That is a lot of competition. So that's why it's so important that you learn how to use every single word that you write to effectively tell your story. I've talked about this in other videos, but in the sci-fi fantasy genre, a debut author has about 100,000 words or a little less to use to tell their story. Any more than that, and an agent is going to think twice about representing your story. And in other genres, there's even less words to play around with, since sci-fi and fantasy tend to be longer in their word count in general. I'll make sure to do a video later where I break down the average word counts that agents are looking for in different genres and why they're so strict about it. But for now, just know that most of the time, you're going to want your manuscript to fall in that 65,000 to 100,000 word range, depending on the age that you're targeting and the genre that you're writing in. One of the main reasons an agent or publisher is going to pass on a manuscript is because the story didn't capture the attention right from the beginning. Another reason might be that the manuscript started strong, but then started to drag somewhere along the middle, and it lost its sense of purpose and urgency within the story. The publishing industry, unfortunately, is a business. So agents and publishers are looking for a solid investment so they can be confident that readers are going to pick up your book and never want to put it down. If your story is failing to capture attention right from the get-go, or if it captures the reader's attention and then loses its pacing in the middle because it wanders too much instead of pulling readers along, then publishers and agents aren't going to feel like your story is a safe investment for their business. So how do you master this skill? How do you say more with less? Here are 4 simple tips that will help you make the most of your word count and tell a more streamlined, engaging story. Tip number 1, have a strong sense of where your story is going and get there. Now, I've found that this is easier if you use a plot outline. It can still be done if you're a discovery writer and you don't use an outline. You'll just want to make sure that you're staying focused on the whole point of the story and the end goal. If you lose track of the entire purpose of the story, or if you start to wander and go other places other than the main point of the story, it's going to feel like you're beating around the bush and not actually taking readers where they want to go. You're going to add lots of fluff in your story that is actually not entertaining to the reader because they are here for the main point of the story that you're trying to tell. So know where your story is going and then make sure that there's progress getting there and that you do actually get there. Everything else that's not pointing towards the main point of the story, you can cut that out. And that leads into point number 2. Edit out the stuff that doesn't contribute to your plots. Now notice I said plots, plural. Every story has multiple plots. At least the good stories do, right? You have your main plot, This is the focal point of your entire story. This is the primary conflict that is driving the entire narrative. The reader will be judging the progress of the book and how good a story is based off of the main plot. When this plot line gets resolved, this is a cue for the reader that the story is getting ready to wrap up. Now, on top of the main plot, there are subplots or side plots. The subplots and the side plots are usually romance or some other kind of character development. Now, make sure not to neglect your side plots because they are actually very important because they add depth to the story and they help us care about the characters that we're reading about. But you want to make sure that the subplots are not getting more screen time than the primary plot. And you want to make sure that your subplots always serve to enhance the primary plot and don't detract from the main point of the story. If you spend more time on your subplots and side plots, then readers are actually going to get confused about what the main purpose of this story is, and there's a good chance they're going to lose interest. If you have the primary plot and the subplots clearly defined, you can comb through your story and get rid of any of that fluff that just doesn't add to the plots. So what you want to do is read through your story, and if you find something that doesn't contribute to any of the plots that you came up with, you may need to cut those things so that you can keep the focus on the stuff that really matters in your story. Tip number 3, make sure to use powerful language. Go back and check the verbs and your descriptions to make sure that you're getting your point across in a powerful and evocative way. Many times you can actually use less words and paint a better picture by using stronger language in your writing. For example, you could say the fire was growing and spreading outward, burning everything in its path. Or you could say the raging inferno engulfed everything. See, that's less words and it was more descriptive at the same time. Remember, your whole point as a storyteller is to entertain the reader. And powerful language is always more entertaining than fluffy language. You want your reader to be able to fully picture what's going on and be fully immersed in the story. Powerful language is the key. Tip number 4, cut out all of the unnecessary filler words. We tend to write in an overly academic way, which means we add in all sorts of little filler words to better clarify and to sound more studious. I think this is a habit left over from when we had to meet a minimum word count for school papers. We need to get over this habit. We're not trying to meet a minimum word count here. In fact, we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to cram as much goodness into our word count as possible. That means we need to cut out any of those fluffy little filler words or unnecessary descriptions. This is going to take some practice to recognize what those filler words are and start cutting them out of your writing, or write intentionally so that you don't include these to begin with. Here are some filler words to look out for that commonly sneak into our writing. The first category is pointless descriptors. These are words like really, very, quite, or so. The way you can fix this is see point number 3 that I mentioned above by using more powerful language. Don't say someone was very scared. Instead, say they were terrified. Don't say really worried. Say anxious. Don't say quite wet. Instead, say soaked. You get my point. Another usually pointless word is the word just. We way overuse the word just in the English language. And using this word usually undermines the sentence we are communicating. Don't say, I just wanted to say. Simply change it to, I wanted to say. Change, I just need to. Instead, say, I need. You'll thank me later. It's more powerful writing. Here's another category that I'm really guilty of. Using the word that. We often write sentences like, he said that he would be there. Instead, we could say, he said he would be there. That sentence is just as clear. Instead of saying, I think that I need to go home, just say, I think I need to go home. Eliminate the word that. You're not losing any clarity and you're making your sentence more streamlined and cutting out a useless word. Now with those tips, you should be able to make the most out of every word so that your story is focused and clear and impossible to put down for your readers. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, go ahead and like it and subscribe to the channel for more writing and world building tips. Until next time, go create something awesome.